All right, we're approaching the campsite here. You can see it's actually right on a little peninsula. There's a water source right down there. Hopefully you can see it. I'm not a video expert, as you know, but you can see if this is a trail. It's been like a light rain the whole time, so the trail is pretty damp. It's got wet leaves on it, and under the wet leaves is clay, so it can be slippery. But I see the sign for the campsite there, so let's go to it. All right, so here's the sign for the Tamasee campsite. It's about 4 miles in from the parking area. Of course, it was about 5 miles from me because I learned my first lesson here. I had put my pack in the trunk, in the bed of my truck, but I put my trekking poles in behind the driver's seat. So I put my pack on and started hiking away, la da 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 da. And I got about a half mile in, and I go, oh, I forgot my trekking poles, and I need these for my tent because it's an ultralight tent, so it doesn't have its own poles. It requires you to have the trekking poles. So I've actually just started hiking with trekking poles, so I'm not all that used to them. If I was really used to them, I probably would have realized right away that I didn't have them. But I actually like them because they really give me balance when I'm hiking, especially like in wet stuff like this. So let's go check out the campsite. All right, so here's the campsite. The sun's starting to come out now. That's a good sign. But you can see that the campsite's on the peninsula here. The river goes around, around, down, there. But basically, it's a little peninsula. So this is a view down the peninsula right here. So I'll probably set up my tent somewhere there. I'm gonna have to check the trees to make sure there's no dead branches that might fall on me, though it's not that windy, so I don't think it's going to be an issue. And I'm actually pretty psyched that the sun is coming out, so I don't have to like rush to set up my tent in the rain. Okay, so this is where I'm going to set up my tent right here. It's actually a pretty level area. It's probably about 15 feet. That's the brook right there. You can see it. You can see the brook, and so I have the nice rushing water, white noise when I go to sleep. It's a little ways from the campsite fire too, because if I do get a fire going, I'm just trying to see if you can see it. It's actually, there it is, right through the woods. If I am able to get a fire going, I don't want the sparks to burn holes in my tent. So I think I'm going to clear out this area and set up the tent. This is the first time I'm setting up the tent. I just got it yesterday evening. That's kind of why I'm taking this test run. So I watched videos and looked at the tent. I took it out and looked at it, but I haven't actually set it up. So we'll see how this goes. So Jill let me borrow that sleeping pad that's at the bottom of my pack. It's actually very comfortable. It's a big inflatable 24-inch wide monstrosity. Weighs like 3 pounds, but it's extremely comfortable. So I was originally planning to use that when I did this the Foothills Trail for the whole distance, but the problem is you can see that my pack cover doesn't actually cover the mat, so curious to see. Now the mat's in its own little bag there, but kind of curious to see how wet the mat is. All right, it's home sweet home here. I guess I'll just record the tent. All right, so it's home sweet home, and you can see this is a two-part tent where basically you have a fly on the outside held up by the trekking poles, and then you have this inside basically bug screen with a bathtub floor to keep the water off. It's on top of that orange footprint that Jill let me borrow. The backpack's in the vestibule, and then inside I've got the nice comfy inflatable mattress that Jill let me borrow. I didn't use her pillow because it wasn't inflatable and it was going to take up way too much space in the pack, and I didn't have the room, so that's an inflatable pillow I've got. And then my sleeping bag's in that plastic bag. That's my down jacket and my sleeping wear. So there she is. All right, I've got my beer bag set up. I don't know if the bears are hibernating or not, but I figured why take a chance. So basically I just threw a rock up and over that branch. Actually it's a tree that's kind of bent over, but it's probably 20 feet off the ground. So that way the bears can't get my food unless they're smart enough to chew the rope, but either way, we'll see what happens. All right. All right, time to cook some dinner. Let's see what we've got. All right, we've got some lasagna with meat sauce. And then for dessert, the ice cream sandwich, dehydrated. That thing's getting destroyed, so I figured I gotta get it eaten before it's just a bunch of crumbs. Be kind of interesting to see what it tastes like. But the ramen is basically for later on tonight before I go to bed. They say go to bed with a full stomach, you'll stay warmer. And I think it's supposed to get down to the mid-30s tonight. So basically, to make the lasagna, all you're gonna do is boil a cup and a half of water. And I'm using Jill's Primus stove and pot there. I get it set up to cook some water. Boil the water, and then you just pour the water into the bag. Let the bag sit for 10 minutes, and then, just like Mom used to make, lasagna. All right, so Jill's stove boiled that water in about 2 minutes. So I poured it into the bag, and now I wrap the bag in my Nike Pro cold gear just to try to keep the bag warmer because it's got to sit there for 10 minutes and I don't want it to get cold. So I'd put my down jacket around it, but I'm wearing it. They sell little bag warmers. I got to get one of those. So basically, after you pour the hot water into the bag, you stick it into like this insulated blanket, basically, to keep it warm. But anyway, I'll let you know how it goes. Well, it smells awesome. Actually looks pretty decent. It's funny that it's called lasagna. But, I'll let you know how it tastes. You eat it right in the bag. See that? No dishes to do. I don't have to do any dishes tonight. Well, I wish I had some bread to soak up the last of that sauce. It was actually delicious. It was more of like a hamburger helper lasagna, but it was really good. Like if you didn't know this was just made out of dehydrated hiking food, it was just as good as you made a hamburger helper on the stove. So now, the pièce de la résistance, the ice cream sandwich. This is kind of funny. They actually wrap it up like it is an actual ice cream sandwich. I think that's kind of funny. But you can see it's already getting kind of crumbled. It's it's a dehydrated ice cream sandwich, so it's very brittle. So that's why I've got to eat it, because I was thinking I'd wait till like the last meal on my AT through hike, but this thing would be nothing but crumbs. All right, I'll let you know how it is. Well, the mint sandwich, chocolate chip ice cream sandwich was pretty good. I think it's a stretch with the word ice cream, but it looked like an ice cream sandwich. It didn't quite have the texture or the taste of an ice cream sandwich, but it still had the taste of chocolate and mint, which is delicious. So it was really good. So I'm debating whether or not to try to make a fire. It's been raining today, and it's actually been raining a lot the last few days. So it's going to be one of those deals where it's going to be a difficult thing to get started, and it's going to be a smoky fire. So I'm thinking I'm going to just pass tonight. So I decided to make my ramen in the same bag that the lasagna was in, so I don't have to dirty another dish, and I can use up that sauce. So I'm probably going to eat this and then put the rest of the stuff, put all the trash and everything into the bear bag, and then hit the tent and call it an early night. So this is kind of cool. So basically all the tabs on the tent are fluorescent, and so it actually lights up. This camera doesn't actually do it justice because the ropes on the sides are all fluorescent, and even the stakes have little strings, so they almost look like they're lit up. It's really kind of cool. So it's 7:30 and I'm hitting the hay. I'm in the tent, got my sleeping clothes on, got my sleeping bag. I'm not actually in the sleeping bag because last time I realized, like when it was like 50 degrees out, I was basically woke up sweating. So I'm just kind of like draping the bag on me like a blanket, and then when it gets colder later on tonight, I'll actually get inside and zip it up. All right, good night. Well, it's the morning, and you can know, I don't know if you can hear the rain, but it's raining pretty hard, so it's going to be a wet morning hike out. I don't know what I'm going to do about breakfast. Maybe I'll just have breakfast bars. Pick up a coffee when I get to the road. Alright, going down to the stream to fill my water bottle. That's a sort of like a Brita filter that's on the top. So basically you can get stream water and it filters it, and you can makes it drinkable without boiling it. So this is the spot where I just got the water, and that's the bubbling little waterfall that made the soothing sound last night. The water is actually very clear. You can see there, it's pure mountain spring water. I'll let you know how it tastes. Delicious. Well, my beer bag's still up there, so I guess the bears weren't smart enough to get it, or maybe they are hibernating. Now I'm back at the truck, safe and sound, a little damp, but yeah, everything went pretty well. Learned a few things. Now I'm going to go get myself a nice hot coffee. We'll see you.